can we try once to keep all our mics on mute so that we can see, when we are not speaking?
Okay, cool.
Oh, so yeah. Hi guys, my name is Nikhil Jha and I'm from BChain Dynamics. Yeah, if you guys can hear me on YouTube, all the audience, can any of you just type a yes so that we can proceed with the session. So if one of you could type a yes so that. Yep. Anyone? If yes. So we are audible. Good. So yes, now let's start our session. So good evening once again, everyone. My name is Nikhil Jha and I'm from BChain Dynamics. I hope you all are doing safe and keeping safe with you and your loved ones during this time of crisis that we are going through. Now, we started BChain Dynamics in 2019, in October 2019, with an aim to make it India's most active and blockchain community, where we can address all blockchain enthusiasts from the beginner stage right up to the intermediate to the pro stage. So far in these previous months, we have done multiple online and offline events. And today, taking this journey forward, we are back with the next online event called as Blockchain in 2030. So as you all must be familiar, like 10 years back in 2010, we had never heard of blockchain. Or like most of us would not have heard of blockchain, and at least 99% of us. But now 10 years later in 2020, everything, blockchain is impacting each and every technology. It's changing the way things are built and implemented, and it's changing it for the good. And we all know that you guys must be very, very, very excited to take a sneak peek into how blockchain will be and how will it change our lives in 2030. So keeping that in mind, we have this amazing event lined up for you today, which is called Blockchain in 2030. So welcome once again. Now, without further delay, I would like to introduce our panelists. So first, we have Mr. Om Malviya. Hi Om, if you can, just say a hello to our audience. Yeah. And then next we have Mr. Sudip Ghosh. Hey Sudip.
Hey everyone.
Hey.
Hello.
And next we have Mr. Pranav Bhardwaj. Hi Pranav.
Hey everyone. How
Hi.
are you doing?
All good. Yeah. So now I would like to all our panelists to take a few minutes to introduce themselves, and then we can move on with today's session. So Om, why don't you start?
Cool. Hi everyone, I'm Om Malviya. I'm director of Tezos India Foundation and co-founder of Tezsure. So I've been involved in the blockchain community and blockchain in India since last 4 to 5 years. I have also been part of the starting India's first cryptocurrency and blockchain knowledge portal, which was it's blockchain.com. And since then, we have been building communities, trying to get more words about blockchain, train in as many people as we can. And recently, not recently, but 2 to 3 years back, I got into contact with Tezos as I was exploring all the projects that were coming in this picture, and I got really connected to it. And now we have started Tezos India Foundation, which supports the Tezos growth and Tezos ecosystem and Tezos ecosystem growth in India. And also on this, I co-founded one of my own startup that we are building on top of Tezos, which is Tezsure, where we are building DeFi solution, developer tools, and many interesting applications for the developers in the public blockchain space.
Yes. Thank you so much, Om. And now I would like Sudeep to give us an introduction about himself. Sudeep.
Hey everyone. This is Sudip. So I am basically from Netherlands, and I am normally working in Aarini Consulting, basically Netherlands company, which does basically build enterprise software and enterprise software extensions. And before that, I used to work for SAP, am a Capgemini, and my blockchain journey started on 2017. So when the Bitcoin came into the picture, after that, we actually moved into the Hyperledger for building the enterprise grade blockchain software. So from that time, I started exploring the blockchains, and I also was very active in that time in the blockchain community. Even now, also start I actually more explore about how we can bring a blockchain as an extension for enterprise related software, maybe in the finance, maybe in the supply chain, maybe in the logistic area. And I'm also author of one book, which is Enterprise Blockchain Development with Hyperledger Fabric and Composer. Yeah, that's about me. And today we're gonna discuss about more topic on the blockchain related stuff and how it's going to be, creating an impact in the business.
Yes. Thank you so much, Sudip. Now I would like Pranav to give a brief introduction about himself.
Sure, thank you. Hey guys, as I was being introduced as Pranav, so yes, I'm Pranav and I work as a blockchain architect and consultant in the Deloitte's blockchain labs. I had been working in this blockchain industry for the last 4 years roughly. I started off as a developer and I'm still building solutions. I have developed multiple solutions on multiple blockchain platforms: Ethereum, Coda, Hyperledger Fabric, Sawtooth, and in various domains like insurance, supply chain, financial reconciliations, netting, and settlement. And I'm currently architecting these solutions for various clients. And yes, today we have got an excellent agenda to discuss that what is going to be the future of blockchain and how is it actually going to perform in 10 years down the line. So yes, that's about me.
Yes. Thank you so much, Pranav, Sudeep, and Om for introducing yourselves. Now moving on to our questions for today. So the first and the most asked question is, what do you guys think about the mass adoption of cryptocurrencies?
Okay, I'd like to start. So,
Yes.
mass adoption of cryptocurrencies. So we have seen Bitcoin coming in, in 2009, and since last 11 years, we have been seeing it growing and emerging as a new kind of store of value. It has opened many new capital markets, new asset class. It is, it has enabled so many possibilities. It has created the entire new industry, on both sides, on the financial side and on the technological side. Because Bitcoin was, as you know, was one of the first use case of blockchain. So the cryptocurrencies are a very interesting, you could say, asset class, they represent your share in the projects and in a way. So if we look at where cryptocurrencies are going in terms of mass adoption, first we need to, because everybody saw in 2017, those who were active in the cryptocurrency area, it was just similar to stock market in India when things were regulated, bad practices, stuff like this. There were many pump and dumps in 2017. So there was this bubble kind of a bubble was there, and many projects were there, and some projects which has stopped working right now. So I see adoption first as if there is a cryptocurrency or a token related to a project, let's say a Bitcoin or Ethereum or something, that has to have some value in it. So if the project can deliver a certain value, and if it is a sustainable value that it delivers, only then the cryptocurrencies will have a long-term future. And about the adoption part, then again that comes to the value that the project delivers. I mean, I'm not talking about Bitcoin here right now because that is different. But if we are talking about Ethereum or Tezos or Cardano or all these other blockchain projects that have their tokens, so if they have to deliver the value, they have to deliver the use cases. They have to be efficient so that developers or new applications or new markets or new financial application can be built on top of that, and that can be used for certain applications by users. And then comes the part of making all the process seamless. So there are two factors. First, the sustainability and the longer term future of project itself, and then how easy it is for the people to be part of that ecosystem or that market. In terms of, let's say, and then comes the secondary part, let's say regulation and stuff. Everybody has a different opinion about around that, but mainly it comes. It has to the adoption will only come when there's enough education. It is definitely going to take time. There has to be user education. User has to be aware about their risk and what are they going in. Then they have to be aware about what they are investing in. Let's say even if you stock market, when you invest in something, you at least do some research about this is the company, what are their financials or backgrounds and stuff like that. They has to be aware about that. And then the process of getting into such ecosystem has to become seamless. And also on many sides, like for free market people, they say there shouldn't be any regulation. But then again, some people say there has to be some regulation to uh, you know uh, preserve the interest of the consumer. So education, I would say education needs to be more out there in terms of adoption, and there has to be more information about how do you value a project, what value of certain project is delivering, and integration. How can the people enter into such a market with the seamless tools or exchange and stuff like that. That is still will take time, but I'm sure that in next 10 years, this is definitely gonna be not it's not gonna be that difficult, and it's gonna be more adopted. Yeah, that was my sense. I can keep speaking, but I would like to
Yeah.
take it.
Yes.
Well, well,
Yes.
well. This
Yes, Sudip.
topic, I mean, it's quite contradictory. I mean, because the first thumb rule of being adopted, the cryptocurrency in a mass is is a stability, and which is very important for any kind of business. And unfortunately, cryptocurrency doesn't have that. You can do business with it because the prices are so fluctuating, you know. And when you can't do business with it, I don't think the mass adoption is gonna take a place. On top of that, definitely different kind of regulatory policy comes into the picture. But the main reason I would say is the price volatility, because when you do business with it, you know, there is a stability. I mean, it's a play a big role. For example, I'm a buyer and you're a seller, and today I'm selling something uh, with uh, with one Bitcoin, which or any kind of cryptocurrency, which value is, for example, €1, and tomorrow if it get drops to 20 cents or maybe 50 cents, then it's a huge loss for me. And that's the reason. I mean, the stability is very, very important. Another aspect, another thing is like if you look at even the fintech world, like cross-border payment is a very, very adopted use case, right? So the cross-border payment actually can implement in two ways. One is definitely you can solely implement with blockchain technology without cryptocurrency. Another way is you can deal with it cryptocurrency, but at the same time you have to bank would be not responsible for if your wallet get hacked or your wallet company or wallet service provider get bankrupt. So yeah, to me, the cryptocurrency, I guess these two aspects is very, very important if you want to, if you want cryptocurrency to be adopted. To be honest, in my yeah, that's what I think about cryptocurrency.
Okay. Okay, Sudip. Fair enough. Pranav, what do you think?
Well, yeah, very well said, Sudeep and Om. Of course, everyone has got a different perspective, but even I feel that cryptocurrency adoption would require more time, and it needs to be structured. It needs to be regulated properly. Only then we can go ahead with it, because this is not something which your country has produced, right? More than cryptocurrencies, if you have to ask me, that what can actually happen quickly in the next 10 years would be the digitizing of your own currencies, right? Especially, okay, if we talk about this COVID-19 scenario, where your bank notes are actually the fastest medium for the spread of this virus. So already a bill was presented a couple of weeks back in the US Congress for digitizing the dollar, right? So we can see the transformation happening. We can see people realizing the need, but it has to be much more regulated, much more structured, and only then it should, be enforced into the market. I'm not a very big fan of Bitcoin, but the regulations that we talk about, if we imbibe those regulations inside then Bitcoin, then I think it's a marvelous asset for this entire world, because we are just eliminating n number of steps which are there in current processes, and making sure that we are giving a gift to the world in which and of course there we have seen a tectonic shift in this global economy, right? With this tectonic shift being taking place now, with COVID-19 coming in, everyone's talking about blockchain, everyone's talking about cryptocurrency. I'm pretty sure that you're going to see a lot more development in the next 10 years, especially in this domain.
Okay.
Great. So I would like to say something regarding the comments that Sudip made. First thing about stability, right? So the cryptocurrency market, if you even see it, it came into, let's say, 2016. I mean, if we are talking about only the Bitcoin and some other coins, they were in the in the space for last 11 years. And if you look at the, I mean, again, I'm more of technological guy, but I believe in cryptocurrency, so that's why I'm saying if you look at the returns over the last 11 years, they are significant. And if we are talking about the cryptocurrency market, which is just recently came in last 3 to 4 years, any asset class you can take it. You can take stock market. When in the stock market, India was new. There were a lot of high pump and dump schemes. One day it goes pump, one day it goes down. So it is very fairly new. The market is fairly new, right? So you cannot expect stability just to be right away. Now, stability is a factor, definitely that has to be a factor, but also it's kind of it is a risk. The cryptocurrency market, let's say if it goes 20% up and down daily, then there is a risk that a user has to be aware about. And a user has to be given all the information. And up to that, it's his choice if you want to take high risk, high return, or whatever kind of asset class a certain cryptocurrency is. So again, in my perspective, that is up to user. So stability thing, again, even in India, we are seeing such a huge surge. We are seeing, if we talk about the people who are entering cryptocurrencies, it is amazing. If you look at the data provided by exchanges, BChain and Binance and global level, it is, I mean, fairly very amazing and exciting to see that people are coming in. And people are being aware, because there's some exchanges and some people are very good about, very aware about education. So that education needs to be there. Like even here we are talking, so this kind of education needs to be out there. That what are the risks for a user and what are what are the options to be. Now for the stability thing, as you said, there are many things. Like there are now, if you look at the DeFi, the decentralized finance system coming in, you have returns like banks, you have mutual funds, you have stuff like mutual funds on public blockchains, not private, and you have many different things that you can generate stable returns. If we are talking about stability, many stable returns. You can lend, you can borrow, you can generate your API. So the products that are coming in into this new decentralized finance ecosystem, those are such innovative and definitely more focused toward stability. Like if we talk about stable coins like DAI, USDC, USDT, those are also an emerging asset class. If we look at the trading volume after Bitcoin, USDT is highly traded coin, which is a stability, and due to which you can involve into multiple cryptocurrency products that can give you some good returns. So this was about the stability. That stability eventually is it is already in a lot of sense here, and it is definitely going to be there for a longer time. And apart from that, the regulations, they are also, I mean, only in India the regulation there it will also come, but the regulation side needs to be there. There has to be some, let's say, little more of regulation so that people can be aware about some government education thing, that this is what you will get, or these are just an option for the difference. Right. So overall, I think it's the market will mature. It is here to stay. It's not going to go anywhere. And Bitcoin will also stay, because also we talk about stability. The oil dropped below, it went into negative. The governments, many governments are going bankrupt. So Bitcoin has to be here as a as a decentralized, not controllable asset class where people can try to believe in. Though both needs to be there, the current banking system also needs to be here, but this is also needs to be there.
Wow.
So that was just my.
Thank you so much, Pranav and Sudip, for presenting your points. While the discussion is very interesting, I believe we have like a bunch of questions to go through now. So, if you don't mind, I would can we proceed with the next question?
Sure.
If you guys don't mind.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you so much. So, the next important question, the concern is, what do you guys think about the scalability issue with blockchain? Sudeep, would you like to start? Scalability issue of blockchain. How will
Yeah, I
blockchain
mean,
scale?
see, yeah. So there are two aspects of it. I mean, when you talk about blockchain, there's a like definitely there is a public blockchain and there's a definitely a enterprise grade blockchain comes. So the scalability main, I mean, if I look at the scalability specifically for public blockchain, it really matters a lot because there transactions basically happen very very frequently, and you need to have a some speed in your transaction because you cannot just wait for hours or maybe days, because that's how the blockchain is solving one problem, right, in our normal day-to-day transactions. But yeah, but if considering the situations for the enterprise grade blockchains, so there is also another aspect, like because in enterprise grade blockchain you have a Hyperledger Fabric one side, and they are innovating every day. And when it comes to integrating those solutions in your in your enterprise grade software, maybe in finance sector or maybe in the logistics sector, so the partner company has to play a very major role. So if you look at the current scenario, like just some time back, me and Pranav was discussing like about the Hyperledger Fabric, which is getting deprecated in AWS, but Azure is playing a very good role over there. They are having the Kubernetes-based stuff, and they are actually whatever features are getting released in Hyperledger Fabric, they are basically incorporating with it. But most of the partner company, where they are lacking, the I feel is when it comes to scalability, is they are not able to expose all the Hyperledger features or maybe whatever the core framework all about. Like for example, a core framework have solved a couple of issues, maybe solved a couple of scalability issues with some patches or some updates, but they are not going to bring those stuff in their platform, because mostly what exactly these partner companies are doing is they are basically just creating a blockchain as a service, and that's what customers now want, right? You cannot have a core engineering team all the time that you'll be making your Hyperledger Fabric or different kind of blockchain platform, which is mainly for enterprise grade. You cannot just build it from scratch. Everyone needs just like a plug and play stuff or kind of blockchain as a service. So there, I feel the partner companies who are actually partnered with Hyperledger Fabric, they are offering the blockchain as a service for the customer. They have to play a major role, and yeah, I mean they have to have a kind of I would say whatever features are getting released, they have to incorporate those features, and that's how maybe you can actually solve some of the scalability issues. But that is for enterprise grade blockchain. But again, for public blockchain, it's all about. I mean, it's actually matter in for different categories. I mean, different companies, because they are into some companies are like they go for their own algorithms. Some companies like they build their own blockchain platform. They don't use some which is a standard core framework which is already available in the market. So that is totally depends on how they are actually architecting their platform.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Sudeep. Now, Pranav, would you like to go ahead?
Sure, absolutely. So what Sudip mentioned for the public blockchains is correct, and the problem lies in the permission blockchains as well. But we do have ways to handle them, right? So let me just put it this way: that we do have solutions to handle those issues that come in with the scalability of the private or the permission blockchains. Now, coming to the point that most of these organizations are offering blockchain as a service, I personally feel that if you are really willing to build a solution for the and it's going to be a long-term solution, you are not doing a POC, then going for these platforms might not be the best option looking at the costing that they give. They are very costly. They charge you per transaction, they charge you per the byte, they charge you even for the failed transactions in the system. Okay, because you have made a query to the blockchain that failed, but you have been charged. So doing a POC and building up your solution, hosting your solution for 2 months, 3 months, 1 year would be an excellent idea, because you don't have to get your entire workforce to build those solutions. But when you have to go ahead and build the solutions, which you are looking forward that they will be up for 10 to 15 years, then you, of course, I'm not sure if the users would be willing to pay the cost for 15 years, the amount charged. Now, coming to the point of scalability, we do have excellent options to handle such situations, and we had been handling till now. At the end of the day, what it matters to the end user is the user experience, right? A person who is working on a web UI and that person clicks on a button, and if you see a loader rotating for 15 to 20 to 30 seconds, then doesn't matter whatever is there in the backend. Maybe it's you have attached 2 or 3 blockchains. We have spoiled the experience of the end user, right? And this being the most important topic of related to the performance of blockchains, I believe that's the only point over which we need to work on for the next 5 years. For the next 5 years, I'm not telling that for the next years we'll be working on it, because we know that in the next 5 years we would be there. We would be there where with blockchains who can on where you can save music files, video files on top of the blockchain. Right now, we are building different solutions by storing the hash somewhere, by storing the rest of the file data somewhere, and we are architecting such solutions. So the most important point here would be to, when you are going to start off a project, you should select or the right blockchain platform. The right blockchain platform means, because once you start developing, there is no coming back. So a bad choice can make you suffer. If you select the right blockchain platform which suits the needs of the business, we should understand what is the business kind of. Are they expecting 50,000 transactions per second? Are they expecting 20,000 transactions per second? Or their business needs just 2 to 3,000 transactions per second, or maybe 2,000 transactions in a day? We can go ahead and select, build the solution that way. But your selection should be precise, looking at these limitations which are there in the current system.
Right. Thank you, Pranav. I think, Om,
Okay,
what would your take be on this?
Yeah, I'll just give it short and sweet. Mainly, as I'm heavily worked on coming from public blockchain, I would say scalability is a very interesting thing in the public blockchain. But for according to me, I mean, scalability definitely will be worked out in the future. We are seeing layer 2 solutions right now and coming in. So let's say over the down line 3 to 4 years, it won't be an issue in public blockchain anymore. But even for the right now, the current movement, it totally depends upon your business. I mean, the kind of application or business that you want to build. Let's say you are building a financial application. If you are building, let's say, a DeFi application, right? So I hope if you are sending $1 million over, the public blockchain network, you can wait for a minute, right? And instead of waiting for 7 or 10 days from banking infrastructure. So that so it depends upon the application use case. So if let's say you're building some DeFi product where you're sending some stable coins, let's say $100 or $200 from one person to another person, if you are providing interface for that, so that will only happen, let's say, on Tezos it happens in 1 minute, on Ethereum it happens, let's say, maybe in 10 minutes, on Bitcoin it happens maybe roughly around an hour. So it depends upon your specific application use case. Like we have seen in Bitcoin, 200 million, 300 million, they transfer in just, and the transaction fees is only like $10 or $5 when you are transferring 200 or 300 million dollars, and happens within an hour. So that is very amazing and exciting thing to see. But if you are, let's say, sending $10 to a person and already the transaction fees is $5, then that doesn't make any sense, right? So it depends upon what your application is, what your use case is, who are your users, right? If you want, let's say, a global users, you want users, anybody from the world who can access your application without, any going to many different things. So it totally depends upon use case to use case basis. But on the layer two side, I'm sure Lightning Network is already there in Bitcoin. It is already working in, I mean, even in the many shops in the Netherlands also accept Lightning Network payments in Bitcoin. I've been there, beautiful country. So that's my thing.
Yes, thank you, Om, thank you so much. Now, moving on to the next question. So, how do you guys think blockchain would impact the fintech world? Pranav, would you like to start? I think, have I made my question clear? Yeah, I mean, how is the fintech, how is the finance world going to get impacted in 10 years from now? Since blockchain is revolutionizing each and everything, one of the major applications is in fintech. So how do you think that is going to be impacted, Pranav?
Yeah, of course.
What
I
are your
mean,
views?
we have already spoken about the shifts or the drifts in the global economy that are happening right now, and the way different banks, different institutions, financial companies, insurance, they are doing POCs and trying to look forward that how this technology, these solutions can help them out. So by 10 years down the line, let me keep it short and simple. You can expect a seamless blockchain experience, wherein right now when we go ahead and start building an application, in the traditional stack, we used to decide on, okay, which database are you going to use? Okay, are you going to use for MySQL, MariaDB, Postgres, or any other database for sake? But 10 years down the line, we can expect architects or developers coming in, okay, so for this solution, which blockchain are we going to use? So it would be at that stage where you're issuing of bonds, getting your KYC done. There is already a lot of work being done on the digital identity side. If you look at Sovereign, the self-sovereign network, and when we club all of this together, you can expect a seamless digital experience by the end of 10 years. And in fact, you can see the real implementation starting 2025. I mean, the way we are looking at the transformation happening, 10 years would be just like the excellent mobile or web applications we have right now on traditional stacks. Those same would be on the blockchain stack in production environment. So that's the major shift that you would see, and blockchain getting into the picture at the production level. Sorry, Nishant, we can't hear you.
Hi. Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
hi. Just to, if you could also add some points, I mean, if you guys would also like to add some points from the developers' POV, from the developers' perspective, if there are developers out there, how do they, overcome this challenge, or how do they get, I mean, from a developer's point of view, as well as from the user's point of view, if you guys could, just put things into frame. You guys are already, we guys are already putting it into frame, but if you could also put it from the developer's point of view.
So
if there's anything.
If you're asking me the question that what's going to be the developer's point of view, everyone when we started with the blockchain journey 4 years back, it just used to be like something else. But slowly when we started developing, I would keep it very short and simple for the developers who are listening to this conference. It's no rocket science. Your stack looks like the same. The only thing that you change is that you remove the database and you put in the blockchain. You
Okay.
are you have just imbibed a new kind of intelligence into the blockchain, a new decision-making process inside the database, inside the distributed database. So that should be the developer's point of view that, okay, my first two layers of the application would remain the same. They would still be developed in Angular, HTML, React. The middleware APIs would be still in Java, Node.js, wherever. But the third layer, you are basically shifting or removing the databases that are present and you are putting in blockchain there. We of course use those databases as off-chain databases while building applications, but your core transactions happen on top of the blockchain. So that's for the developers. It's a pretty simple thing and a straightforward thing. Now for the end users, as I already mentioned, that user experience is the most important thing and that carries value for any application. Maybe I have invested millions of dollars and for a blockchain application, I want to showcase to the world that I'm building an application which is blockchain, immutable, hashing functions, security, sharp, blah, 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 right? But at the end of the day, when user gets onto the web page, he clicks on a button and he sees the loader going on for 1 minute or so. That's going to spoil everything. They will say, "What shit this is?" So, for the user experience, we need to be really cognizant of the fact how we structure or design solutions so that the final user experience is not hampered. The final user is only going to love blockchain when the UI experience is going to be good enough. Till that time, no one is going to invest further because they won't. They will just ask them a question that is this what we have invested in? My previous stack was much better, and this is how actually the business guys think when they invest
Right,
money,
right, right, right,
right?
right, right, right. Thank you, Pranav. Thank you, Pranav. Om,
Yeah.
what are your views on this?
Okay, so financial applications. I think in next 10 years, I mean, the current financial infrastructure is totally going to get disrupted. It is already being disrupted because you can see the protocols that are coming in, like stable coins, interest generating protocols. So those things which used to be, only the specific to bank, now people are becoming their own bank. There are definitely some challenges that needs to be addressed. But if you see the growth, so I've been in the space for like 5 years, and if I look at the growth that has happened in 2 years in let's say only the Ethereum ecosystem, it's magnificent. Right, 2 years ago there were all challenges: scalability, user experience. I mean, all the things that Pranav mentioned and also Sudip mentioned, that all these challenges were there. Right now, also, I mean, there are challenges. I'm not saying that. But if you look at, the emerging products that are coming in and the kind of amount of VC money that is going into this, like, and Anderson Horowitz has opened a very huge amount of fund for cryptocurrency and proxy startups. So you can see all these things needs to be addressed very well, and you are seeing a new kind of category of products which are decentralized finance products that are coming in, where you can generate your interest, where you can build your mutual funds, where you can insure against the volatility. That is also a very interesting use case that is coming up. You can ensure that if the value goes below more than 5%, then I get my original money back. So all these products are coming in, and they are all on chain, and they are all
Right.
on chain, and there is no, uh, there are no central authority. It is all happening in a very decentralized manner.
Right.
About for the user experience thing, you can developers can look at Dharma. You can download the app Dharma. You can download Argent, which are seedless. You don't have to remember the seed, and the UI is brilliant. You can see all your things going, doing some live stuff. So these are some of the examples of how the UI is changing and how the user is entering, how the startups and the innovation is enabling the entry to this new ecosystem. When the JP Morgan guys said, like, let's say 2 years ago, that I would never do anything with Bitcoin and blockchain, and now they are providing the custodial services, which is one of the largest bank in the world, to Coinbase, we see that change is happening in some way, and these guys are, getting very threatened by the even the main presence of this new infrastructure that is coming up.
Right, right. Thank you, Om. Thank you so much for sharing your views. Sudeep, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, yeah. So see, the blockchain is already creating a huge impact in the fintech world. So if you look at the most widely used case, as Pranav also mentioned, that banks are already implementing the KYC, right? Even if you look at the most widely used case, that is a cross-border payment, which everyone try to eliminate this SWIFT and Western Union, because they are the third-party guys and they charge huge money. At the same time, they takes also 3-4 days time to make a transaction. So already banks are implementing this kind of solutions. Like there is, I don't know, you heard about the bank called Westpac or not? They are Australia's largest bank, and they already tied up with Ripple to solve these cross-border payment issues. You know, so fintech world, I guess, is growing, and in 10 years, I would say, like, you will maybe it's a too futuristic to comment, but I feel like in 10 years there would be no third party. Everyone would be having their own blockchain based platform, which will solve mostly the payment related stuff. Because when you do a business, for example, you are in US or you are doing business with other countries, so your payments, cross-border payments play a huge role. Because it if it gets verified by third-party people and they charge huge money, then you lose a lot of money. And where the blockchain is solving that problem. Coming to the uh, developer point of view, yeah, I agree with Pranav what he said, but also at the same time, you have to, if you are targeting the enterprise customer, so they don't, mostly big enterprise customer, they have their enterprise software, and the enterprise software comes from Oracle and SAP. They are the biggest giant in this particular domain. So those customers never ever prefer to build a separate blockchain solutions for them. So they always look for the extensions, or they always look for the plug-in play features. Just for example, I don't know, you heard about SAP SuccessFactors or any kind of HCM solutions or not. So there are even now companies are implementing KYE, not KYC. It's a similar kind of solutions like Know Your Employees. Because, for example, you work in a company and then after some time you go to another company for joining, and there basically they do the background verification. So to make the process more simpler, people are implementing the KYE, and for that, from a HR point of view, everything would be same. There would be no changes. They would be still entering the employee master in their HCM system, and then the developer comes into the picture, how seamlessly he can integrate, or how seamlessly he can put that data, employee master data, in their blockchain platform. So
Right, right,
it's always about you have to think that customers are not interested to
right,
go for everything from scratch. How they
right,
are more interested is like how you can bring the value by
right,
adding the
right,
extension.
right, right, right,
So
right,
that's
right,
my point of view from the developer
right,
service.
right. Thank you, Sudeep. Thank you so much. Now,
So see, from the student point of view, I would definitely say, like, if you are coming into the enterprise blockchain, then you have to first know the business process. Okay, you cannot just build a blockchain solutions, or you cannot do anything without knowing the business process. You have to, for example, you are working, or you are building some solution on supply chain. Without knowing a supply chain, how you can build such kind of solution? So that's if you are a student, and if you are really interested to into this career, I would always say, like, first understand the business, understand the process, how they are works, and then the blockchain, even you can build any kind of solutions. So that's not a make any separate or any difference, I would say.
Right,
Just
right,
to
right.
add one point, maybe being
Yeah,
students, if as they are not into the business yet, they can think of start building games on top of blockchain, because you don't need to know business for building games. So there was a time when CryptoKitties was launched on top of Ethereum, and since then multiple games have already been created. So while you are in your college life, that is, you can just start building or thinking of that how gaming industry would be transformed when with blockchain, right?
right,
I'm pretty
right,
sure that everyone in college will be playing FIFA, Counter Strike, Call of Duty, and PUBG, of course, nowadays. So you don't need to know business for that, and you can think of transformation in that area.
right,
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
that's true. That's true. That's true. Hmm.
yeah. Yeah. So currently, I mean, the blockchain course eventually is going to be there because as we have seen, like one of our community or the colleagues that I am in contact with, soon in the NPTEL, the government official courses thing, there is also going to launch Ethereum course, the cryptocurrency, not cryptocurrency, but the blockchain course from a technological point of view, how Ethereum work, how Bitcoin work, and all the other stuff, right? So that is going to happen soon because government, like Quality Council of India, has itself completely they are in the cross production of the course, and it's going to be available for all the faculties, IAS, administrative officers, students, for everyone. So these kind of initiatives are also being taken by the Indian Institute of Chartered Accountants and AICTE. That we are also from Tezos India side, we are in contact with a couple of universities who are willing to you know who are trying to create a syllabus for blockchain to add as an optional subject. Now, if you see in universities now, you have the option of doing a MOOC course, an online course, MOOC, as far as I know. So for that course, you can always opt to a course on Coursera or Udemy or edX. So in that way, so I would try to tell all the students when you have that opportunity, when you have that doing an optional subject opportunity, where you need to do a course from, let's say, Coursera or EDX or any online platform, or even NPTEL or SWAYAM courses for that matter. Try to do blockchain course. For the career side, I'll just tell you that during this COVID-19, none of the blockchain company, public blockchain, I'm not sure about private, none of the, and I'm sure about both of now because I haven't heard any news. None of the blockchain companies have fired anyone. Even they are hiring more. Even in India ourselves, we have some very good blockchain startups who are hiring more, who are hiring for internship. We are still hiring for internship. We are still hiring for jobs because uh, the VC, I mean, from the venture capital side, billions of dollars are being flown into this industry, and also the jobs are being created on a very big basis every day. So if you have the basic understandings of, just the basics of blockchain and the basics of, you can try your hands with hackathons. That's why I say hackathons are important. We will keep organizing hackathon every 2 to 3 months for, everyone to bid some very good prizes in merchandise so that it will become a hobby. You can build your stuff, you can win prizes, you can win bounties, and you can also get an experience, live hands-on experience along with mentorship that how this stuff would work. And then after, when you're in your fourth year or whatever year you are in college, then it is up to you what path you want to go into. But I would suggest that always try to get into this ecosystem, try to understand all in and outs, try to build some basic applications like basic wallet. You can integrate all the protocol. They have really nice developer documentation like Uniswap or stuff like that, just swapping between currencies. And like Pranav said, the gaming, collectible, NFTs, so these are very easy things to do, and there are already a lot of documentation out there online. A lot of projects are already live on the GitHub that you can just copy paste and try your hands around. So it's up to you how you learn these things and how there are opportunities. I'm not saying there are not opportunities. There are always opportunities, a lot of opportunities, but you need to navigate through them. That which opportunity you're looking for, what kind of profile or what kind of developer you want to be.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I guess, in all the hackathon, what we normally, I mean, everyone's aim is to solve some business problem, right? So when I mean that, okay, you have to know the business process. So that means, no, you don't have to be in the business. You can definitely read about the supply chain, how the supply chain works, how the logistic works, and definitely you are smart enough. You are writing a lot of code, right? You're definitely smart enough to figure it out. Where is the gap? So, for example, maybe everyone use Amazon, right? Everyone use Amazon. I guess. Student, if you're a student, it doesn't matter. Like you are a student or you are an employee, and definitely you have a knowledge about, okay, how this particular delivery works, and and that's where you create a value, like the business process, okay, and the hackathon, it gives you a kind of a platform where you can solve business problem, and you can showcase, and also on top of that you can learn from others also, because I remember, like, I attended my first hackathon not in blockchain. I was in different technology. So I started my journey in 2014. 2015 I started doing the hackathon and all, and I was not the winner, but to be honest, I learned a lot from the winner, those people who own, like, their ideas and how they are actually solving the different problems. I guess, yeah, that's a very good idea to do a hackathon for the students, because they will get a lot of things, not which they cannot just get by doing internet or by attending any course. I guess that's a great platform. We are not able to hear you. Hello.
Oh, hello. Yeah, am I audible? Am I
Yes.
audible? Yeah, I guess there
Yes,
was some
yes,
net.
yes.
Yes, yes, yes. So, thank you, Nishant, for bringing up that question, and thank you, Sudeep, Pranav, and Om, for wonderfully answering it. Now, building on top of the question that we last had a discussion on, if fintech is so powerful, like blockchain in fintech is so powerful and so impactful, what are the various financial organizations, like maybe the controlling, like the governing organizations, like the World Bank or the RBI in India, or maybe or maybe the bigger banks, the investment firms, like what is JP Morgan or what is Goldman Sachs waiting for? What are they waiting for in terms of adapting blockchain technology or regulating it? I mean, what are they waiting for? What is Goldman or JP Morgan waiting for now?
All right. So I'll just start. The banks like JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs. So we have seen many very kind of different kind of news. These banks, they used to be totally anti, the blockchain part. Initially, they were also against the private blockchain part, for that matter. But after seeing projects such as Ripple, because for banks, the best thing is, cross remittance, trade settlement, and these kind of use cases they are really focused on. So initially, they they saw that a lot of value going into the public blockchain. So now they are also coming up with their own frameworks. Like JP Morgan had announced the JP coin. I don't know the name, JP coin or some kind of coin, and it was kind of a similar framework such as Ripple to compete with that. Goldman Sachs, they are also now giving, not they are not doing banking themselves, but they are giving custodial services, or they are providing their banking services to the blockchain companies. So that is a good sign in my perspective, because they are taking risk on those companies if they are providing their custodial services to, let's say, Coinbase, and America's largest exchange. So they are taking risk on that certain business, that okay, this is the value is being put in this business, and we have seen the track record, let's say, of this particular company, which has grown so big in last couple of years. So they are trying to step in slowly but steady, but they are also watching how things are happening worldwide. And projects such as RippleNet, I'm not sure about their token, but the RippleNet, that has also been integrated in many banking infrastructure. So it is not a matter of what they are waiting for. It is about how they can improve their current processes, and I guess they must be working for it, because otherwise the new infrastructure that is emerging, such as DeFi, they won't be too happy about some other infrastructure taking over their users and customers in terms of, let's say, this trade settlements, cross remittance, and savings and interest and stuff like that. So still slowly, it's not there yet for banks, because cryptocurrencies, mainly cryptocurrencies, like is a threat to them. Having the idea of people becoming their own bank is something not digestible. So, but they are trying to incorporate. So it's kind of a competition between banks and cryptocurrencies. They are trying to incorporate how can be this better? How can we put more control into users? How can we be more transparent? But if they don't become that, then we have seen the examples of DAO, decentralized autonomous organization, such as MakerDAO. If you look at Compound, if you look at, so like for just an example, MakerDAO is a decentralized organization which governs the DAI stablecoin. Its value visible to US dollar, and this is a decentralized organization. You have this organization is by users. Everybody is a part of it who holds it or who enters into this. So it is transparent. You have all it is transparent. You have everything very easy and fast and smooth. And these kind of systems, if bank wants to compete, they have to somewhere improve their current offerings so that they can compete with the currencies.
Thank you. Thank you. Sudip, what are your views?
Yeah, so see, the banks, as I totally agree with what you said. The banks are not, I guess, waiting for anything. Some of the banks definitely started implementing, like, especially, if you look at the Indian banks, they already started implementing a couple of use cases. Okay, but sometimes, what happens, like, you cannot just make your business, or you cannot just make a blockchain totally you. Like, you also have to, in certain use cases, you also have to depend with your partner. Okay. For example, I would just give a different view of it. Like, last not last year, we were exploring one use case. Okay, so it's basically for the loan specific area, where you need to have a blockchain for the partners. Like, for example, you go to buy a house, or for example, you go to a construction company, where you normally you get your house by paying the loan, or by taking the loan from bank and paying them. So in those kind of cases, we actually was having a very interesting idea, where your loan, or where your every month you will get the money from the bank based on the completions of the work. For example, you have taken a loan for example, 50 lakhs. Okay, and you were expecting that, okay, maybe first 3 months I'm gonna take around 10 lakhs, or I would take some part of it, and the bank basically definitely gonna release the payment based on your completion of the work. And that's where the construction company also has to be in the block, because it's a kind of multi-sign based transaction scenario. So you give whatever has been done, and whatever has been based on the contract, that, okay, if you complete 20% of it, then I'll release the next payment. So in those kind of cases, the bank are still exploring, but it's always you cannot by single-handedly, you cannot do everything. You also need a partner to join such ecosystem. Okay, and that's where I guess everyone has to come, because it's a win-win situation for actually both, not only a bank, it's also for a construction company. But unfortunately, there are very less construction company, even I don't know when they are into blockchain, or they are interested into such kind of things. But if they comes into those kind of things, definitely it's going to be a very wonderful journey in those kind of use cases, where you will get a seamless loan, and you also don't have to worry about your completions, because the payment of the loan, or it will be released by the bank to the construction company directly based on the completions of the work.
Right.
Where, like, uh,
Right. Amazing perspective, Sudip. Now, Pranav, what would your take be on this?
Sure, Nikhil. So I won't spend much time because Om and Sudeep have covered most of it. Uh, Only thing I would say is that, as Om mentioned in the first line, that banks are not waiting for it; they are already on it. What they are trying to achieve is that when are they going to match the current standards set by the technology or the current system, and then they can go forward with it.
Right.
The 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 base of blockchain, or the core features of blockchain, all of us know that what are they, right? And they
Right.
are coming as a separate package, but
Right.
at the end of the day,
Right.
the level they need to match the level that is currently there
Right.
in the existing systems, what Visa,
Right.
Mastercard, for everyone is
Right.
offering, right? So change is always difficult, and it
Right.
becomes further more difficult when money is involved, right?
Right.
So when there is a lot of money involved, when there is global economy, global economy involved, then you will always, take steps very slowly, and that's what's
Right.
happening with the blockchain industry or the banking industry, I would say.
Right. Right.
So
Right.
they are moving forward, but at a
Right.
slower pace, analyzing each and every step
Right.
properly, and then moving forward.
Right.
So
Right.
the change will happen. All we need is high support for high number of transactions, high transaction speed, and most importantly, the
Right.
security that is being offered right now. And
Right.
how do we go ahead and build an
Right.
environment or an ecosystem
Right.
where we will be able to offer all these which are there in the present scenario with the help of blockchain. So
Right.
it
Right.
takes time, but eventually it will happen. And
Right.
by
Right.
2030, for sure, we can see good amount of implementations.
Right. Thanks, Pranav. Thanks. So I'd like to, move on to our next question. Uh, so like a lot of companies, mostly, at this stage, it's just the big companies. Like for example, Facebook, they're coming up with their own, permission blockchain or cryptocurrency, and they're trying to implement their own versions of it. What do you guys think of it? Sudeep, would you like to go ahead and answer this?
Yeah. It's, as I guess Om also discussed in the first questions. Like, it all
Right.
depends on what these guys are, what problem these guys are trying to solve, and at the same time, how scalable their product is also, and how easy also to implement, and definitely how affordable it is, because the are customer looks for a lot of criteria, to be honest, when it comes to implementing something. Okay. So it's like a big company. The one good part of them is like they have the trust, because when you normally go into the business, when you normally start your journey, it's the first thing in order to make a business is your trust. How trustful you are, for your customer. And I guess Facebook and the other big companies, they are building solutions. They already earned that particular area. I mean, they are definitely trustful because they have their Apple already. And now the only thing is, I guess, what the problem they are going to solve. Is they are definitely going to solve some very, I mean, good problem, which is very important, to be honest. If I look at this COVID case now, uh, it's very important to have a blockchain based stuff for airline industry now, because you need to have such kind of system where minimum interaction would happen with someone. Okay. And as a traveler, when you go to airport, it's like you have to first check in, you have to get your boarding pass, then you go to immigration, and those all things, I guess it's a good opportunity for all the companies in current scenario to automate it through blockchain. Because when you everything put in the software, there's a lot of scams, lot of theft also happen, and that's how the blockchain comes to the picture, which eliminates all this kind of problems. So again, again, it's up to them what kind of problem they are trying to solve, and at the same time how affordable and how seamlessly it would be integrated. That's my take on that.
Right. Thanks, Sudip. Thank you so much. Om, what do you think of it?
Okay, so this was a very interesting development. Like the news is were going around for quite some time, and then Libra was there. Also, one thing to look at is I've read this somewhere, or this is very true in the startup ecosystem, that every company at the end wants to be a fintech company, even if it's a Swiggy delivering food. We have seen this happening, Paytm becoming bank finally. So all the companies are at the end, not all of them, but most of them are trying to be fintech company. And Facebook has a user, 2.8 billion users, which is like huge amount of population. They have the users of their platform. So they already have the ecosystem, right? They already have the ecosystem. They already have all the users. Their tools are being used by all developers around the world. So it was inevitable that they are going to do something with fintech, and they chose to do this on the cryptocurrency way by introducing their own. This is very interesting. So this only says, that how this kind of alternate monetary systems are being, are being followed by all the big organizations, and how they can bring certain value to an infrastructure and ecosystem itself. I'm from personal perspective view, I'm not really a fan of Libra because all the you have to give 20, 10, 10 $30 million to be a part of the association, and then you can govern the infrastructure. I'm more of if a normal user with even $2 can be a part of governance or not. So governance is important when we are talking about decentralized or distributed system. The governance is important, which in case of Facebook is governed by only large VCs and large companies. So on a system itself, I'm excited that those people took such an initiative. Many people are taking such initiatives, but if you ask me about the way they've structured themselves, is that nice? That's not. I think is the best way to go forward. The fight, and also the other thing is that cryptocurrencies can open financial inclusion for a huge amount of people. There are still billions of people who are unbanked. You have to go there, you have to put your KYC and stuff, you have to go bank, and the process is complicated. And the digital inclusion is growing every day. Even with Geo, we are seeing how the digital inclusion is happening. Everybody is having internet at least. So if you can, Facebook already has a big user set. If you can give the access to those financial applications such as banking and stuff like that on just a mobile app in a very easy manner, then they can include a huge amount of users, and they can grow their users by on a significant level. So on a business side of view, I understand their approach that everybody wants to grow their own business. I understand their approach of getting more users, increasing the financial inclusion. But I'm sure we will see many similar projects coming up going forward. But it will be interesting to see how they develop. Like there was the Libra is still not given green check by US government, but the foundation is located in Geneva, Switzerland, where the regulation is RPP. So we'll see they are still trying to develop, and we can also see this very interesting angle here that Facebook has acquired some stake in Geo. So how in future this angle goes forward of financial inclusion. We never know. So, but this is a very interesting development, I would say. It's a very exciting thing, but it will definitely be interesting to see how it's develops.
Right. Thank you so much, Pranav. What would your take be on this?
So, okay, we had been talking a lot about cryptocurrency, Facebook launched Libra. Of course, the governance model is a challenge, but let's look at a bigger picture. When we heard the news that Facebook has launched their own cryptocurrency, what's the first impression that you get? The first impression that you get is that it's not just like in this call or the people who are watching this live session right now who have their trust in cryptocurrency, but the big giants also do, right? And that builds more trust, that gets more trust to the table, to this ecosystem, to this blockchain community, that this is something which you can, in fact, trust, and you can start building stuff.
Right.
Now, coming to the point of the view that what these big giants are doing, as we mentioned, Geo, recently I got to know that Reliance is also building a blockchain network, which is going to be a permission blockchain to handle spam calls in association with Try.
Right.
So that's another big implementation. So think from this perspective. I would just tell everyone that think from this perspective, that if someone, as Facebook has got 2.8 billion users, if Reliance is building a blockchain platform to handle spam calling for all the telecom networks in this country, can you imagine how many number of cell phones are subscribed with each operator, and how many total number of numbers we are going to have? And then the blockchain is going to be scaled to that level to handle that problem. Then of course there is something in this community, and that's where we see the shift. We might just not have to wait for 2030 to come in when we go ahead and see the production level applications, but 5 years down the line, everything is going to go boom. So uh, that's the baseline learning that I feel that we get when we hear such news or such announcements.
Right, Pranav. Absolutely true. Absolutely true. So, now while we would like to take up more questions and discuss more questions, I believe we are already a little bit out of time. So now, if you don't mind, we would like to proceed to our Q&A session and then wrap the session up. Yeah, Nishant. Yeah, Nishant will be joining us now with the Q&A questions. In the meantime, I would, while Nishant, finds the questions, I think we've lost Pranav. I think he'll be joining us soon. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, I guess there are a lot of use cases. Apart from the cryptocurrency, if you totally comes to the enterprise blockchain, you will have use cases in supply chain, logistics, HR. Then there is a very interesting use cases which is going to be implemented in coming years. I guess that's a trade finance. I don't know anyone of you heard about it or not, but it's actually have a lot of potential, to be honest. And there are a couple of use cases like in supply chain, like a track and trace base, and those are you'll get normally you will see in upcoming years in every industry like pharma, in logistics, and most of the industries, I guess.
Oh, okay. First thing, to answer the second thing, Google is involved in the technology. So if you look at there's this example, Chainlink, which is on-chain Oracle solution. So Google is partnered with them to provide the off-chain data on-chain for Google. There's some sort of partnership. No, I don't know the exact details about that. And Google has a blockchain team. It's not that Google is not into this technology. Google has a blockchain team. Even if you look at the Facebook thing, a year ago there was only a one job position role going on in Facebook team about blockchain engineer. They were hiring a couple of blockchain engineers, and you didn't know that they were gonna come up with this big. So these companies are working on blockchain stuff. So how to get the internships? I would say there are some links. There are some very amazing, there are amazing portals. especially if we are looking mainly for the public blockchain, then there are a lot of portals where you can see you can intern with remote companies, like you can intern in Switzerland, you can intern in New York, France, Paris, Singapore, or with us. I mean, we also have a lot of partners, who we are always hiring interns or for full timers. So at for the exact portal, I won't know, but I would love to share some details with you. Like Binance has recently opened up many job positions and many internship positions. Maybe you guys can check that out. And we are also hiring a lot of interns. And our partners in the India who are our partners in the blockchain community, they are also hiring a lot of interns. Matic is also hiring a lot of interns. So I have it's not there are a lot of opportunities, but if you are looking for the portal, I know a specific portal I will share with you. But apart from that, I guess from enterprise and for private blockchain, you get to see a lot of roles on Naukri.com, on LinkedIn. You get to see every day. I mean, I keep seeing them every day. So I don't think there is not a lot of visibility out there. I mean, there is a lot of visibility out there in terms of blockchain hiring. Uh, but if you're looking for one-step solution, one-step platform, it's not on top of my mind, but I'll love to share with you guys later on.
Yeah, so Om has, of course, already answered and covered most of it. If you have got experience with Ethereum, then I think you can just pitch to different jobs or that are available on good postings available on LinkedIn. And plus, in addition to the Ethereum, I would just suggest to learn the API level as well. Okay, because just learning the blockchain part would not suffice. So learning one layer on top is also required. I'm not asking you to go ahead and build a UI, but that of course you can do once you are over there. But the layer number 2 and the layer number 3 are literally related and work quite you know tightly coupled with each other. That's what I would say. So that's what we say as the Web 2, how the Web 2 is connected with the Web 3, and then finally going down to the blocks. So just try to learn the API management, and I think then you should be good. In 1 year of time, will be a full stack.
Yeah.
So if we are talking, let's say, in next 2 to 3 years, I guess it could be something related to what Geo does. So I'm pretty sure that Geo is also working very deeply with the blockchain. Like they had announced the permission blockchain network last year, I guess, with 1,000 blockchain nodes established all over India. And now Geo is kind of coming up with this Geo Mart and this entire infrastructure, this entire ecosystem of their services. And that is where we can see something, it's going to be plugged in from at least from the enterprise side of view. If we are, that's on the enterprise side of view. But if you're looking at, let's say, public blockchain side, what's going to be the killer use case? For it, there are some couple of very good companies that are building some amazing solutions, but then it is not going to be only limited to India. It's going to be to everyone. Like if we can look at, let's say, the Bioeconomy, or there are some 2 or 3 startups, I won't take the name, who are making sure that the user experience gets as smooth as it can, like 10,000 transactions per second, without paying any transaction fees. Like the exact thing that the exact experience that you face in traditional apps, putting that experience into the public blockchain. And these are the startups that some Indian startups are working on. That would be in next 10 years, whenever there is a good adoption. That would be I guess.
So, okay, let me take a crack on that one. For financial reconciliations, blockchain is all about managing your bills. Okay, so the settlements that you do right now on there is a lot of manual process involved in those settlements. There is a lot of negotiations involved in those settlements. There is a lot of discounts offers involved in those settlements. And if you look at all these attributes, then in all, you end up spending a lot of time, lot of manual or mind is at stake. So with blockchain, with the smart contract capabilities, the code can do this job for you. I always say that we always take a blockchain as security, cryptocurrency, but I always take a blockchain as an automation tool as well. The processes that used to happen, that one file is now going to another file, then the second user emails the document to the third user for the approval. When all those three users are having their own nodes and they are part of this ecosystem, the data is flowing automatically and the notifications are being processed to the relevant parties in this entire ecosystem. So if you consider different personas, invoices involved by them, different orders, and reconciliation metrics, the smart contract can process your invoices. Your smart contracts can produce your payments. Your smart contracts can actually go ahead and give you the clarity that when what transaction was done and what were the negotiation comments, were the comments then, and you will have a complete history of what has happened with your bills through the system. So it's a vast scope, I would say, for financial reconciliation and blockchain to go in together.
I just want to add one point. What Pranav said. I mean, if you're really looking for making it completely automatic, you should also bring the OCR. I don't know you have heard about this OCR functionality or not. It's basically it's a kind of based on image processing. Like when you send a bill, for example, you are sending a supplier invoice. So as a customer, when you make a payment, right? So it's very important even like how the smart contract will check the invoice amount is correct or not, right? So there, the OCR plays also major roles. Like the OCR as well as the blockchain, it's going to be killer, actually, to be honest.
Right, right.
Okay. I would bet on BChain, decentralized finance.
I would go in for supply chain with IoT because
I'd go for trade finance. I mean, straight away, the trade finance is something I'm just because that's the demand I have been getting from last 2 3 years from the all type of industry. I guess I can bet on that.
Right.
Yeah, it all depends on for example, you are from supply chain background, you have more knowledge on supply chain. Definitely you have a more understanding on the business process of the supply chain. Someone, definitely, if they are into HR, they will have a more understanding and they can find a more problem in the particular industry. So it's all about the domain or the background it comes from, I guess. That makes things more unique. And I guess we all are from different backgrounds.
Right, right. So I think Nishant, if I may. Yeah, yeah. So thank you so much. Thank you everyone. Thank you Om. Thank you Pranav. Thank you Sudeep. Thank you Nishant for taking out your time and making this such a wonderful and such an amazing session. While we would and I would have personally loved to take on more questions, and we would have liked, but the only thing being we are running short of time, so we have
Yeah,
to
it's
cap it
going to
over
be
here.
2 hours.
Right, it's going to be 2 hours. So,
Mm.
and thank you so much for taking out times from your busy and packed up schedule, and coming on board with us to have this discussion, this amazing discussion today. Thank you so much once again. And I would also like to thank my entire team for putting in their efforts. I mean, a lot of them, most of them have not been able to join us on call right now, but thank you to everyone for joining us, to our amazing audience for taking out time on a Saturday, and on a Sunday. Yeah, yeah, yes. Yeah, right, right. Nishant has many feathers to his cap, so yes, he's the man behind BChain Dynamics. Driving the initiative, taking up the initiative, and driving it. From of all of us are there, but he has been the key to it over the last months. Um, so yes, and to all the folks who are viewing this, if you want to join our amazing community, we are expanding at a very, very, very fast rate. We are growing our community. We are there on Meetup. You can follow us on Meetup, Twitter, LinkedIn, Telegram. We are there on all social media. Follow us on the pages, and we will be sharing the link. We'll probably put the link in the comments here for those of who, if you want to join our community, please fill in the form. We would be happy to interview you and work with you. So yeah, that's it. I think that would be all from my side. And thank you everyone once again for joining us today on a Sunday evening, for taking out your precious time and joining us. Thank
Thanks
you
for
so
having me.
much.
Thanks for having us.
Thank
Thank
you.
you,
Thank
guys.
you, Om. Thank you, Sudeep. Thank you, Pranav. Bye
Good
bye.
luck.
Good evening,
Take
Yeah,
care.
thank
guys.
you. Bye. Have a nice weekend, guys.
Yeah, have
Yes,
a nice.
same to you. Stay
Good
safe. Stay
luck.
safe.
Yeah, stay safe.
Stay safe.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.
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 Bye.